Morning, morning. All right, so we have our body of our teapot. Yesterday I talked lids. Are we ready?
Yes.
Yes. Yesterday I threw a lid. Yeah, you can. I'm just taping. So I just cut it off and I want to show you what it looks like today. So my lid has a little bit of a ragged edge right there. And so to trim a lid, often I will just do it by hand. I'm just kind of taking that edge off with a loop tool just so it's not as sharp. I'm also wanting it to fit into my teapot, so I'm kind of testing it and making sure. I already kind of looked at that earlier. And if I have any rough edges, I'm just kind of, you can put this on your wheel and then turn this upside down and then trim this, but it's so small that often I just do it by hand. It's kind of up to you. And then I'll take a wet sponge and kind of smooth down the edges and then pop it right in. So I'm pretty happy with that lid, fits pretty well. And now it's time to throw a spout. So when I throw a spout, I am getting really small amount of clay, almost like my lid. I'm gonna center it just the same way, where it's a little bit tiny, but you can do it if you are careful and a little bit more gentle than usual. Just like that. Now, when I throw a spout, I wanna just have like a baby cylinder, right? So I'm still finding the center. I don't really mind if I push all the way down. I could hit the bat if I wanted to because it's a hollow cylinder. I don't need like a bottom to it. So I'm going all the way down, just gonna hit the bat. And then when I pull out, I'm not really pulling out that much because I want it really nice and thin. When I pull up my walls, my outside hand is doing most of the work. I'm gonna end up trimming off a lot of this bottom clay, so I actually start my pull about halfway up. And I'm just squeezing and pushing mostly with my outside hand. So I'm not really thinking about down here at all. I'm gonna push in here, come up. It's probably gonna get a little bit uneven at the top, but I'll just trim that off. I wanna make sure my hands are nice and wet so it slides through because it's really fragile, so I can like torque it if I have a dry hand. I'm gonna go ahead and trim this top, so I'm putting a finger in. I'm taking my needle tool and pressing it all the way through to meet my finger for a full rotation, pulling that off. And then just like you would collar a big cylinder like we did on our vases, I'm gonna collar this, but I do it with just my fingers. So I'm kind of pressing it together once I have the right thickness. I want it kind of nice and thin. Like that. Yours can be kind of any shape that you want it. You can even like curve these a little bit, which I think I'm going to do. So at the very end, I'm just rounding the top of it. I think this part's the hardest because it's so fragile right here. You don't want to put a ton of pressure on the top. So I'm just kind of rounding that out. Kind of refining my shape a little bit. And that is kind of all there is to throwing a spout. It's not too hard. So what I would do next is I am going to actually cut this off. Would someone grab my white teapot? That's like my example teapot. That's okay. One thing about attaching the spout is that you want the top of the spout over the lid, because when you pour it, you want the water to go from the bottom to the top, and if I have my spout just going straight out or something like that, it's gonna dribble out the top. So when you attach it, you really need that kind of nice angle going up so that the top of the spout is above your lid. So that's one thing I'm looking for when you attach. Thanks. When I take this off, I am going to just cut it down below, but I have lots of trimming to do. I'm gonna, almost like your mug handle where you like really trim, I'm gonna crop quite a bit of that thickness off when I attach it, and I can show you that later. The other thing you could do with your spout is you can bend it. If you would like a bend in your spout, you could do something like this. You can also have like a pinch so the water runs out of like a little pinch there. So there's a couple ways you could attach it. You can have it more organic, you can have it perfectly round, but that is the spout that I'm going to attach, and I'll show you that next time. Sound good? All right, thanks.
What I just said, word.